John Sadak of the Cincinnati Reds with this call.
Anticipation to see what...
Oh, goodness! That ball had a family! In game 2, his first home run. A 2-run bomb.
Just so much fun stuff from Elly De La Cruz and the man who's been describing it. So we're thrilled to have here on the Rich Eisen Show, after playing all of his greatest hits over the last month, John Sadak, the announcer of the Cincinnati Reds for a third year running. Good to speak with you, John.
Great to be with you, Rich. Thank you for having me.
You bet. I told this story on the air, John. Again, my 12-year-old son, he's been playing me all these highlights for, nonstop. He's on the MLB app, and he played that one for me. And he asked me, Dad, what does he mean by that ball had a family? So you forced me to have a conversation about humor and mortality with my 12-year-old, John. So thank you for that.
That's what we're looking for, the greatest depths as possible as the celebratory antics of the Reds baseball season goes on.
So what has this been like for you? Because obviously this isn't, new with Cincinnati having young players be fascinating and fun to watch, but he just stands out. I'm wondering what this has been like from your perspective behind the microphone, John.
It's been incredibly engaging and thrilling. This is my favorite year in baseball by far. But, Rich, I've been personally very fortunate to be right place, right time at a lot of places over the years. I did women's basketball at the University of Delaware when Elena Deladon played there, and she dropped 54 in a game against James Madison, went on to become a gold medal winner and the WNBA MVP. My Division III alma mater snapped the longest win streak in college football history, beating their nemesis to go to a championship. UConn's run that came to a close in the Final Four. I covered Aaron Judge during his rise with the Yankees in AAA. I've been really, really fortunate to be around greatness and to be able to watch it and describe it. Mm-hmm. And Elly is such a unique talent because he does everything. He has not just the physical tools, but the awareness of how to best utilize those tools and that dramatic flair of showmanship that just makes him so engaging.
And I just, your calls have just been so filled with excitement and joy of you meeting the moment. And, the moment that he got that cycle, John, and then the pictures of the broadcast, the broadcast team that you work with, showing this like little girl, she must have been like 14 or 13 or 15, who knows, 12, just jumping up and down with excitement, just seeing the folks in the stands respond to his achievements so quickly, and the joy that it has brought I love seeing it, man. I just love watching it. It's just been so much fun.
Yeah, it's contagious. I've described it on the air like this a few times, and I sincerely mean it. Reds baseball has become like a rock concert. It has become like the NCAA tournament. The hair stands up on your arms. You get goosebumps. There's a contagious energy that is indescribable. And his single effect, now this is a deep team with a lot of good young talent, but his single effect is so significant in how it's moved the needle among the fan base. They went from 19,000 fans a game pre-Elly and the worst single-game attendance in the 20-year history of the ballpark, coming off a 100-loss season, to over 30,000 fans a game and the best three-game draw in the 20-year history of the stadium, almost overnight.
Was that the Braves series, John, that you're referring to?
It was. Uh-huh. Yeah, and that was the zenith moment, that was their lone win. They lost the other two games. They were one-run games. They were thrilling, but that was the win. And that was kind of the formal they had arrived moment. That was their 12th straight win. It was a top 5 win streak in team history. You have to go back to the 50s, the last time they had a surge like that. And they had the longest drought of a cycle in baseball. And the last man to achieve it was Eric Davis, who is a longtime mentor and inspiration to Elly. He's the reason why he wears 44 for the Reds.
I did not know that. John Sadak here on the Rich Eisen Show. So walk me through who Elly is and walk people through what you've learned about this young man so far, John.
The youngest of 9 kids. taken away from his family by family choice at age 6 to focus on baseball. His hometown in the Dominican just did not have facilities or coaching to be able to actualize his talent. By later in his childhood, he moved an hour away from his family to be in the capital, and all along the way was often overlooked, was an also-ran. The fulcrum moment for him came when there was another shortstop that was nicknamed Lindor because he was viewed as so skilled and so beloved, and he was asked to try out along with this other young man, essentially to make the other kid look good. He was supposed to be, the sparring partner for this workout, and he instead caught the eye of the Reds, who inked him for $65,000. He is a very soft-spoken, blue-collar young man. He wears the chains. He has the dread extensions. He does play with a lot of flair, but that's just him having fun. There's no showing up of anybody. He is a super hard worker. He looks at the game in a very intelligent way. Some of my favorite moments, Rich, have come when our cameras are able to spy him alongside Joey Votto and that generational conjoining as they're looking at an iPad of each man's respective at-bat and talking through what happened.
So basically you're saying when he was trying out, he was supposed to be the Washington Generals for this shortstop nicknamed Lindor, and he turns out to be the Harlem Globetrotters for the Cincinnati Reds, pretty much in that moment.
Exactly it.
And he's got the emotional intelligence to seek out people like Votto and Eric Davis. That's what's happening. That's how he's being formed as a professional right now, John?
Yeah, and make no mistake, he knows he's good, and he wants to maximize his ability. He's had quotes along his rise saying that he wants to be the best player at each level. And the crazy thing is, look at his stats. Like, he was in the complex league, the lowest level of stateside baseball, 2 years ago in 2021. He wasn't there long, but he was to go 2 years from that to what he's achieved. And I can argue, you look at his numbers, he's gotten better at each level he's moved up.
I just love the way he plays the game, too, John Sadak, the voice of the Cincinnati Reds here on the Rich Eisen Show. And how he stole for the cycle in 2 pitches the other day against Milwaukee, and how he reached third. And, he had the gumption to obviously steal second and third with 2 outs after, by the way, providing the lead with a 2-out base hit to get on. And then has the temerity to steal home, but also the smartness to realize what's going on, but to also have that sort of kid mentality, go, damn right, I'm stealing home. I'm taking it. I'm going. And I loved it. I loved the reaction in the dugout. I loved all of it. It's awesome, man. It's so infectious to watch. It's great.
The really cool layering to that, Rich, is that third base coach J.R. House, who does an excellent job, and he's been one of the strong advocates for the entire team approach of being far more aggressive on the bases. Big reason why the Reds have achieved what they have to this point. He kind of pulled the curtain back after the game and said he went to go high-five Elly after he stole third, and Elly wanted no part of it. He looked away from him, and he thought, well, that's kind of weird. What's going on? And he also confessed that over the course of the year, he would notice every time Elly went to third base, he would change that oven mitt that says absolutely ridiculous and an ice cream font on it to his other hand. And he asked him, why do you do that? He's like, well, so when I steal home, I want to use my other hand to go into the foul side of the plate. Like, he's been thinking that all year. He's always thinking steal home.
We're showing that photograph right now of him taking it, too. I know, and it looks like he's flying. It looks like he's Superman. It's so incredible, and obviously he's young, and he's taking things by storm right now. What, dare we ask, can he improve? What are his areas of improvement, John?
The ludicrous element to all of this, and I've said this on and off air to my partners, to our production crew, to coaches.
Yeah,
we haven't seen him get hot yet. Like, he hasn't gotten hot. He's had great games. He's had great series. I mean, he was hitting 500 on the road trip going into that finale.
Right.
I don't think we've seen him hot. Like, I think he could have like 2 inside the park homers in a game. He still gets pitched backwards a lot. He sees the highest rate of breaking balls in all of baseball of men who have as many at-bats as he does. He sees the lowest rate of fastballs of anyone in baseball. I think we'll see him. He's already made adjustments. I think we'll see him adjust to the quality delivered for strike off speed that is not as present in the minor leagues. That's part of the learning curve. And Rich, he's learning, and he's hitting 325. He's learning, and he's like winning games single-handedly at times.
Well, I'm looking here. I'm seeing when you go to Atlanta in the second half. I don't know if you do. I'm looking right now, which is too bad because I would love to see him run against the Freeze. You know, like that's the last thing I want to see him do. You know, I want him to basically during mid inning run out to a left field pole and beat the Freeze. I think he could, right? I think he could.
I think he could too. And unfortunately, we were there in the infancy of the season. That was the opening road trip, and he was still in AAA at that point. And the other crazy element to this, Rich, is you talk to his teammates, because there are a lot of rookies on this team and young players that were teammates with him for long stretches in the minors. And Andrew Abbott has said this several times, who's having a phenomenal rookie year, the lefty from Virginia, who's kind of become the de facto ace in the wake of some injuries. He said the ball had a family home run that nearly left the stadium.
Yes.
He said that's not a top 5 homer he's hit this year. I mean, you can find a lot of these highlights on Twitter and on YouTube of what he achieved at AAA. He said that of all the moments that have occurred, we're still seeing the scratching of the surface of the truly otherworldly, amazing play. And I can't wait to watch this young man's career unfold.
And then, but the second half of the season, though, John. I mean, this team's got playoff potential written all over it, and a run too, right? I mean, like, I imagine that is being discussed in that clubhouse right now. Correct?
Their running turn of phrase is "Why not us?" It's something they have said from the beginning,
right.
And there have been a ton of doubters, and fairly so. They lost 100 games last year. A lot of the needle-moving players were in the minors. We did a full-page graphic the other day about where the Reds in the lineup this last series in Milwaukee were a calendar year earlier. And many of them are either in the minors, injured, some of them at very low levels in the minor leagues or in other organizations. And what this team has done in a compressed span of time is just it's fantastical. It's the ultimate American kind of story to go from underdog to top dog in what's emerged essentially as a 2-team race. And they're going to get the Brewers again out of the break, and then they'll see them again in Milwaukee just a week and a half later. And those head-to-head games will have major say, along with the rest of this long homestand out of the break. They get the Giants, a good team. They get the Diamondbacks, another great young team that plays like Cincinnati. But yes, they're very much in the playoff chase, and most are curious how or if they're going to add, particularly to pitching, as the trade deadline approaches.
So rank it for me right now, John Sadak. It's Burrow 1. What is it? Still Votto 2 in that town right now, or Elly De La Cruz, or what do we got? Or Burrow's not number 1? What do you got for me right now in Cincinnati, Ohio?
I think it's the success of Cincinnati, of the Bengals, I should say.
Yes.
Joe Burrow has definitely grabbed the hearts of the city in a convincing way, and
yes.
As he should. I mean, he is Joe Cool, and they have become a premier destination for people in the greater Cincinnati area.
Yes.
But I think Joey Votto has a loyalty from a large majority of this fan base. He is so beloved because he spent his whole career there, and.
Yep.
And part of it is because the team was so bad during a chunk of that time.
Right.
And he still performed at a very high level. And now he leads the team in OPS and slugging. He's 39. He's
awesome.
killing it. I think the city loves this story and loves him.
Well, and again, you are meeting the moment, John. I'm enjoying your calls immensely. So keep on having a blast. Really. You're making it fun for me and everybody who's watching the fun unfold in Cincinnati.
Well, thank you kindly. And if I may share with you, I want to say thank you to you.
Okay.
When I wanted to do this, when I wanted to work in this industry, my original aspiration was inspired by you and your peers to be a SportsCenter anchor.
Huh.
And It was I was a senior in the class of '96, growing up in New Jersey from Greater New York, and all of your email addresses at the time were public on my dial-up AOL connection. And I wrote you and a number of the other anchors, and almost all of you, including you, wrote back.
Is that
and
right?
You shared your story. Yes.
Really? Okay.
And that was a huge help to me to kind of get a picture of the diversity of the paths. And I love sports. I may love sports media even more, and getting to talk to people like you is even more of a pinch me moment. And I'll never forget that, and I'm deeply appreciative of that.
Wow, John, that's I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing that as well. And it's kind of an honor for me to receive an email from you back in that day and not even know what it might have impacted, or that you even received it. And now here we are all this time later chit-chatting about a major sports baseball story going on, and you crushing it. I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier for you, and I appreciate you sharing. That's pretty cool. Thanks.
You got it. Life is great. Keep kicking butt, man.
All right, we'll see you here in Los Angeles. I mean, I definitely want to go to those games.
I'm going.
That's for sure. Thank you for the call, John. Appreciate it.
You got it.
That's John Sadak.
We'd love to have you.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey.
Okay, very good. John Sadak right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.